This is Ty Zen. I got leonfu.com, the Oracle of cryptocurrency, right? Hey, you know what? I think that I'm also the Oracle of cryptocurrency too, Leon, because I made some good calls on some of the trades lately.
Maybe we should be the oracles.
The oracles of cryptocurrency, okay? Because I got some of my friends that said, hey, you know what? Leon's not the only one that's making some good calls on these, man. You're making some good, technical calls too, But hey, but you made a good call on List, though, man. It hit on the money. Yeah. You said, hey, man, when it levels out, it's going to be around 30 cents, and man, it's been sitting around there between the 30 cents and right below 50 cents, man. So that's a good call on that one. Okay. All right. So, guys, in this video, guys, we want to just talk about some of the pros and cons of some of the solutions that the Ethereum team is putting out to fix the problem with the hack that happened with the DAOhub.org hack, okay? Now, if you guys are new, just want to quickly summarize what happened, guys. So the DAOhub.org was the first DAO in existence, and it raised, I think, a little bit over $150 million. And then there was a bug in the software, and a hacker came in, and they exploited this bug and took advantage of it. And what they did was they created a child DAO, and that child DAO started to drain the DAOhub.org of their ethers. So the DAO tokens that you have are still there. It's just that the $150+ million worth of ethers that was under the control of the DAO Hub has now been drained of ethers. And I'm not sure why, but there was in one ledger that I checked, there was 2.3 or 2.4 million ethers that were drained from the DAO Hub into the child.
I think it's over 3 million, Ty. I think I checked and it's over 3 million.
Yeah, so this morning when I checked, it was 3.6 million.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which one. So here we got the Oracle of cryptocurrency, leonfu.com here, and he's going to explain the pros and cons about the solutions that the Ethereum team has proposed to fix the problem. So you want to start with the solution that they're proposing first?
Yeah. So like as you said, that this was an error in the code, and that a hacker who must have been very good, very experienced with Solidity, right? So let's just make this clear first, that this was not a bug in Ethereum. This was a bug in the smart contract that is the DAO, right? So there's nothing wrong with ethers. If you have ethers, it doesn't directly affect you. It indirectly affects you is because 17% or something like close to 20% of all ethers are in the DAO. So it does affect you in the sense that if the DAO crashes, it's taking down ethers with it. So far, right? We've seen that overnight. But anyway, the solution right now is that this is the solution. This is the proposal from the Ethereum Foundation and the Slockit team, is that they first do a soft fork to invalidate all the transactions that transfer ethers out of the DAO. Right, all DAOs, not just the main DAO, but also all child DAOs. So the soft fork is to first lock in the ethers that are already in the DAO, in the DAO, so that they don't move. And the ethers can't move from the DAO for another, I think, 27 or 40 days.
It's 27 days. I thought it was 24 or 28 in my previous video.
Yeah, some number of days. About 3. Let's call it a month, right? 3 to 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then, so all the ethers are still there. They're all locked into DAOs. They haven't been traded. They are all still locked within the smart contracts of the DAOs, right? Which are now multiple DAOs now, right? So that's the first step, is what they're working, what the Ethereum Foundation and Ethcore and all the people that have Ether clients they're all creating a new version of the software, which is going to be a soft fork. And they'll probably push that out once they finish testing that. I mean, I'm sure they're all working around the clock on this. So that's the first update. The next update is going to be
just real quick, Leon, before you go on to the second update, right? So just real quick, right? When you say invalidate the DAO, the soft fork is update is going to invalidate all the DAO transactions. So basically, what you're saying is that the first update is to so that the network does not recognize any Ether transactions coming from any DAO. Is that correct?
That's right.
And that's
my understanding.
Not just the DAOhub.org DAO or the hacker's child DAO, but any DAO inside the Ethereum network.
DAO. All DAOs. Let's say all DAOs, right? The main DAO, the mother DAO, and whatever you want to call it, and all the split DAOs. Let's call them split DAOs because that's what they are, right?
Okay.
That's what the code calls them, right? So that's the first step. Is right now they want to freeze the ethers there, right? And that will give them more time than the 24 days or the 27 days. Because it'll just be locked there indefinitely. No one will be able to move the ethers with that soft fork update, right? Now, they call it a soft fork because as long as you don't do any transactions with the DAO, you still recognize the chain. You can still interact with people who didn't upgrade.
Okay.
So that's what the first that's what they say they want to do. They want to do a soft fork first, and then really the really tough part is going to be the hard fork. The second proposal is to hard fork the chain to basically return the ethers, basically assign the ethers in the DAOs, okay, to a new smart contract, okay, that will allow anybody to redeem their DAO tokens for ethers.
Okay, so now that sounds really easy because it's just software, right? Why do you say that it's hard? Like, why do you say? Because you from my perspective, it sounds easy. But then you're saying that it's difficult. Okay,
it's easy technically. Easy, when I use the word easy and hard are relative. It doesn't mean anybody can do it. It means it can be done. It can be done by the developers, okay? That's the easy part. The developers can certainly write whatever code you ask them to write, to do, right? As long as it can be done and it's logical and makes sense, it's just software. Right?
Okay. So basically what you're saying is that it's easy in terms of writing the actual computer code to make this happen.
Yes.
But the hard part is getting the people behind it to actually accept it.
The community.
Yeah.
Yes. The community. And the community is made up of users like you and I. It's made up of developers. It's made up of miners. It's made up of, everybody who owns ethers.
Yeah,
right?
so there's a whole ecosystem. It's not just one or two people. There's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah, because you have to get the majority of those to agree to use the new version of the software, right? The developers can write the software. They can't force people to use it. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So, and that's the debate going on right now. Within the Ethereum community, the debate right now is not if we can hard fork, but should we?
Yeah.
Right? And we can get into the arguments pro and con if you'd like.
Okay. So what's the pros? Obviously, let's talk about the pros first of them doing a hard fork. And basically, just to make it simple for the people that are listening, basically the hard fork is going to put the $60 million that were stolen from the DAO hub back into the DAO hub.
Yes.
That's what it basically. Technically,
that's a little oversimplified, but basically we can just think of it that way.
Yeah.
It's not quite that, but it's in effect that.
Yeah. So technically, how it's done, I don't think the listeners care. They just want to know, is it going to be put back so that their money is safe? The investors just want to know, hey. So basically, the hard fork is just them doing a software upgrade that puts the money, the $16 million of stolen money, back into the DAO hub.
Yes.
So what is the pros of that?
All right. The pros. Okay. So let's go over what the reality is. Right. The fact is that the DAO raised over 12 million ethers, which is something like 17%. I think, or it's well,
a large portion. It's a large portion for one. The DAO hub is a big stakeholder in the Ethereum network. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is, and it's kind of where, if it fails, it could possibly destroy the Ethereum itself, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like during the financial crisis, right?
Yes.
The banks failed and they got bailed out because they were so large that if the government didn't do it, the global financial system would have collapsed and there would have been a massive disaster.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is would it be safe to? I would call this the first major cryptocurrency bailout.
Yes, and we know what might happen. Like I think this could be similar to when Mt. Gox finally failed for Bitcoin a couple of years ago. And Mt. Gox wasn't Bitcoin, right? Mt. Gox was just one exchange, but it was an exchange that held something like, I don't remember.
It was like 80%.
10%.
No, it held.
I don't remember how many of the Bitcoins it held, but it held a large number of the Bitcoins. And there were no other competitive exchanges at the time when it failed. Remember, it was...
Yeah, I remember trying to open up a Mt. Gox account back then, and they claimed on their website that 80% of the Bitcoin trading volume was going through Mt. Gox.
Yeah, and then a large percentage of even the Bitcoins were held by Mt. Gox, right?
Yeah.
So it would be we saw what happened to Bitcoin when Mt. Gox failed, right? And basically, we can say it collapsed from 1,000 down to 200, and it did eventually recover, but
it took a couple of years.
It took a few years to recover, right? And we still don't know what happened to those Bitcoins, and there was really nothing even the developers could do at the time, right? Because they didn't even know which were the Bitcoins and what, there was really, but Ethereum is kind of where the DAO has gotten so big that it's really it's really been it seems like it might be a critical part of Ethereum right now because 17% of all the ethers are in it, right?
Yeah.
The pros of this would be that all the money can be returned back to the investors, right?
Yeah.
Because this money was stolen, right? This money wasn't that the DAO decided to invest in something.
Yeah.
And then it was, and then that didn't work out, right?
It's not a bad investment. This is not like a bad or poor investment.
Yeah, this wasn't because we didn't lose money because we made a bad decision, a poor investment decision. This was a money because this was a money that was lost because it was stolen, right? Or it was something that.
It was stolen money. So get back to the pros of doing the hard fork and returning the $60 million worth of ethers back to the DAO.
Yeah, so that would return. The argument for that is that the money should be returned
to the investors. Yeah,
because this was stolen, and it's kind of like if you put money in a bank and the bank gets robbed, that you should be made whole, right?
Yeah.
you didn't put the money, or if you put the money in a brokerage account, let's say you open up Fidelity or Charles Schwab or whatever, right? A stock brokerage account, and you lost money because somebody broke into the account and stole your money, right? Not because you bought a stock and when it went down, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We've decided as society that, okay, if you make a bad investment and you lose, then you deserve to take that loss. But if you were a victim of a crime,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if you were robbed, right? Then you should be made whole, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So the pros would be that if they do the hard fork, basically the pros would be that the investors and the DAO hub get their money back.
Yes, because they were basically robbed. Basically, somebody found a weakness in
Yeah.
the contract, and it was exploited, and they used that flaw to steal the money, or to take money that wasn't intended for them. Right?
Yeah.
Because I think everyone agrees that money was not intended. No one intended for somebody to be able to split the DAO and then drain all the money from the DAO into their own child DAO. I don't think everyone recognizes that was a mistake in the code.
Yeah.
That was not the intent of the code, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a mistake.
So,
right?
Another pro, or when we talk about pros and cons, another pro is that the money goes back to the investors and back to the DAO hub. But the other pro is that it saves the Ethereum network, and it also saves the concept of the DAO, not the DAO hub, but the concept of creating a DAO. And because if this doesn't come back, then there might be people out there right now working on new DAOs, and they might decide, you know what, this is probably not a good idea, and then just give up on it.
Yeah, that's speculation, right? That can be debated, right? That's a lot of that's not. We don't know if that's true, but yes, that can be an argument, right? But that's the pros of this, is that the community, the investors were stolen from because of an error in the code.
Yeah.
And the developers can fix it using a hard fork.
Okay.
That's basically what the arguments for doing this, and that it should be done because it's such a large amount of
money
ethers involved here.
Yeah.
It's such a large amount of money involved here. Yeah. Right. Just like So that's the pros, and should we talk about the cons or?
Yeah. Let's talk about the cons now.
So the other argument in the community was saying that this was a risky investment, and this was not a bug in the Ethereum network itself, right? This was a bug in the smart contract of one DAO, of one smart contract, right? And that the investors put money in, and they should lose it because they took the risk, and they should lose it, right?
Yeah.
Because this was an investment, that they sent money to this contract, and this contract had a bug, and the person who, one person said that, well, it's just that he read the fine print better than other people. He didn't actually break the contract. He didn't technically break the contract, right?
Yeah.
He just read it better than other people.
Yeah.
Right? And that he even deserves this money because he didn't steal it. He was just following the contract as it was written.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the other argument against it is that if we hard fork for this smart contract, what's the threshold? That sets a precedent, right?
Yeah, because later on, let's just say that I come up with a smart contract and
you make a mistake.
I make a mistake writing poor code, because that's what the reality is. It's poor written code.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, or it was just a mistake. Yeah.
Well, regardless, it's the fact is there's an error in the code, and what happens if I make an error in my code for my DAO and I lose, $500,000.
Whatever you lose. Yeah, whatever you lose.
And
right?
and
doesn't really matter what you lose. You lose something, right?
Yeah. Will the Ethereum community and the Ethereum team do a hard fork to fix my DAO?
Exactly, and if we do it for flock it, what, you know, so that's the argument against this, is that if we do this thing for slock it, then are we going to do it for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And then what's even the threshold that?
Is it at
what's
5?
Even the threshold?
Yeah, is it 500,000, 1 million, 10 million, 20 million, 50 million? What is the threshold where the Ethereum community will help you get your money back when you make an error versus, you know, you just move on?
Well, the argument for this is that the DAO is so large that Ethereum will fail if we don't, right? Just like in 2008, they bailed out the banks because if they didn't, the whole system collapses. And what's the point? I mean, you can stand up for your ideology, but if the whole system collapses, what do you have left?
Okay, now, I know the listeners are probably going to think I'm nuts for saying this, Leon, okay? But this is, I'll just share my opinion about this, and then you can share yours, okay? Okay, my thoughts are this, you know, I've been in the financial sector, you know, for a large portion of my life, and I do not agree with the government bailing out the motor industry, the auto industry, right? And I don't believe they should bail out the banking industry, the financial industry during the 2008 crisis, right?
Okay.
And I know that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs if the government doesn't bail them out.
That's a little different. Let me ask you this: if you trade at, I don't know what you trade at, but let's say you have an account in Fidelity and you trade your stocks there, or you have an account in TradeStation, or I don't know, whatever brokerage you use, I don't know, right? You don't have to say. Let's say a hacker broke into their system, right? They exploited a bug in the infrastructure, in the code, right? And they stole all your money. Right? Should you lose all your money? Not because of a bad investment, not because you bought a stock and you lost, right? And the trade went against you, but because the brokerage, the bank or the brokerage that you held your money at was, you know, got broken into, right? The same thing. Somebody saw their system and worked it and broke into not only your account, everybody's account, and stole everyone's money, right? Should you get bailed out, or should you be the one responsible for that investment because you put your money in that bank or that brokerage account?
No. If it's like you said, you know, people should not be, should lose that money.
No one forced you to. No one told you to put your money in that bank or that brokerage account. You did. You took a risk to do that, and they got stolen from, and they stole your money. Why don't you take the loss? Why should the government bail you out? No. That's the risk that you take for doing business with that. That's right. That's the risk. We do bail out, right? We have FDIC. We have IPC to cover that, right?
But there is a difference with the FDIC and for your personal bank accounts, and then there's a difference with.
Let's go back to the bailout. The auto bailout and the bank bailouts of 2008 wasn't because those banks or the auto companies were stolen from, right? It wasn't a crime that was committed against them, right? It wasn't somebody hacked into the system and stole all their money, right? It was they made poor investment decisions. Right?
They were bad. They were bad business people.
They were bad business people, and we all had to pay for it, right? It's one thing if you get robbed, right? If you get robbed, then no one is against, like, okay, if somebody robs you, the government from coming in and arresting the thief and then returning the money to you. No one's against that, right? We as society said that's what the government's supposed to do, right? What they are against is what the bailouts was against. The auto companies and the banks made just bad decisions, right? And the taxpayers should not have to save them for making poor business decisions. And what you're saying is that, and what you're saying is that the investors in the DAO should be saved because it's they lost money not because of a poor investing decision. It's because the DAO got robbed. Yes, the DAO is basically somebody found a weakness, and let's say it was a bank. Somebody found a weakness in the security,
Yeah.
right? And they were able to break in and then steal everyone's money, right? That's kind of like the argument. The people, but let's go back to the con, because I'll just try to argue from the side of the people who are against the hard fork. The hard forks, the people that are saying that we shouldn't hard fork, is that because these smart contracts are supposed to be immutable, and like you said, if we do it for this, for the DAO, then do we do it for every other one? And you know, it's basically showing how centralized the system is. The whole idea of decentralization is no one is able to undo the transactions, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like their argument. Like it's what you were going to say, is that, you know what, the investors took the risk, and
yeah,
you know, they should lose their money, right?
Yeah.
So that's really the two sides of the argument, right? And you know, I'm arguing like, oh, yes, that's true, but you know, it wasn't we lost not because the DAO made a poor decision. There was an error in the software, right?
Yeah.
Just like there are errors in the banking software too. There are errors in any software, right? And you know, systems get hacked all the time, right?
Yeah.
But I can see both sides of the argument. You know, I can see it as from where there's an ideological con, and there's also a pro.
Yeah.
I think the reality, though, is that, you know, Bitcoin was hard forked many times. Ethereum has been hard forked and will be hard forked.
And it will continue to be hard forked. This is not.
Yeah.
You know, it will continue.
Yes. There's definitely at least two more times. We know on the roadmap there's at least 1 to 2 more hard forks on the roadmap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really the pros and cons right now. And so should we talk about like the trading of the DAOs right now? That's something we can.
Yeah, we might as well. I know it's going long, but we might as well just do it all in one video. And then that way, so that way the audience can just get it all in one bite, you know.
Yeah. So what happens now is that the DAO is now trading at the moment, I think, at a 60% discount to the Ethereum price, right? From the 100 to 1 price.
Wait, you want to talk about the potential investment opportunities because of this whole fiasco, this crisis? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I want to talk about we could talk about the trading, the price. As to what to do now.
Okay, so let's do that in a separate video, because in this one I just wanted to keep it on the pros and cons of that, and then we'll make a separate one.
Right, cool.
And I definitely want to talk about the investing opportunities that's available during this crisis. So let's do that in a separate one. So for the people that don't care to listen to the technical stuff, they can just go straight to that one. Okay. So thanks for watching this, listening to this, guys. And if you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give us a thumbs down like always, so we'll know not to waste time making it. And we'll see you guys in a future video.